Greetings from Houston, Texas. Mike coming at you from AT Astro, Error of Truth, Aspect and Relationship Astrology. It's 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, and I have nothing better to do than come at you with some awesome astrological information. So today we're going to be talking about a specific natal chart aspect that I myself have, so I've definitely had my fair share of experiences regarding this particular placement. Venus conjunct Pluto in the natal chart, and what it does for individuals who are blessed or cursed to have this placement. Okay, so Venus conjunct Pluto is a really fucked up aspect to have, for one. I mean, it just is. It's terrible. It's horrible. But no, we actually just really get into it. Venus conjunct Pluto. Most people who are going to be watching this video are going to have it in, I guess, Virgo if you're an old school, Libra, or Scorpio or Sagittarius. Venus is very descriptive of second house and seventh house matters within the personality. So your resources, your self-esteem, how you handle financial matters, relationships, partnerships, the more feminine side of your personality, how you express love, how you receive love, what you find aesthetically pleasing. There's a lot about what that's a lot of what Venus and Venus represents in the natal chart, and Pluto is the beast within all of us. Pluto is eighth house. It's death, rebirth, transformation. It's our attachments. It's our secrets that we hide from others. It's everything dark within our personality. I mean, in Greek mythology, Hades, which is the Greek term for Pluto, he ruled the underworld. So when these planets come in a conjunction, that means in the natal chart they're sitting right on top of each other. You're gonna look for about at the max a 5-degree orb. Anything more than that, the aspect's gonna become really diluted. But if they're less than a 5-degree orb, the love nature of that individual is very much scorpionized, very intensified, especially if you have Venus and Scorpio like me, and you are dealing with this aspect. It's like if you're already Venus and Scorpio, it's like having Venus and Scorpio on crack. There's a lot of lessons to be learned from it. However, these people, they experience love on a very, very, very intense level. Very guarded about their love. The potential for obsession, of controlling behavior, of manipulativeness, of possessiveness. They can become issues. Albeit it's not in as much of a showy fashion. They're not going to be very dramatic about it. Because Scorpio energy is very, very secretive and invulnerable. Well, it's very vulnerable, but it likes to put off the air of being invulnerable. So their very intense emotions are going to be very, hidden. Well, they're going to think it's hidden. They're not going to talk about it, but you'll be able to see it through their actions. Even in a lighter-hearted sign like Libra, the love nature is very ramped up and revved up, very much a urge to merge. It comes up very strongly in somebody's personality when they have this aspect. It's very noticeable. It's one of the most noticeable aspects you can have in a natal chart. It comes up stronger than any of the other Venus-Pluto aspects. When these people are in love, they are lasered in, very focused, very driven to get the object of their desire, and they do it almost on like a guttural. Like they don't understand why they're so lasered in on this one person, and it's usually somebody that's activating that Venus-Pluto conjunction. Somebody will have their Pluto making an aspect to it, or their Pluto falling on top of it, or Mars and hard aspect to it, or something like that, or on the reverse, they'll have their 8th house, because even if the Pluto-Venus conjunction doesn't sit in the 8th house, if somebody activates that person's 8th house or their 8th house ruler, then it triggers in this Venus-Pluto aspect in full force. This person will be when they're less developed, be very low-key obsessive. Constantly watching them, analyzing them, listening to what other people are saying about them, always wanting to know where this person's at or what they're doing. And a lot of times, a way to, I guess, prove their affection for the object of their desire, and it's usually one person at a time. They will give everything. They'll give away all their possessions, and they can actually be very possessive of their own possessions. So when they're giving away freely to somebody, then you know, like you can already know, okay, this person's got something for them, because they will literally give everything away to that individual to sort of like prove their loyalty or prove their love. And it is really, really jealous. They're not gonna show it up front that they're jealous, but you'll see it in the little actions they do. If you're giving somebody more attention than you're giving them, then I mean it can manifest in different ways. It really depends on the rest of the natal chart in that respect. But the jealousy thing is going to be a huge problem that they will have to overcome over time. Also, they are very, very attracted to plutonic individuals, I guess. Many times they'll be, especially if it's in Scorpio, people with a lot of tattoos, people with a dark, edgy aura about them, somebody that they can't quite get, almost like a challenge. They don't really like it all that much when somebody just sort of lays down for them right off the bat. I mean, sometimes it works for them, but they associate love with struggle, with crisis. They think that they think of love as a life and death battle. And it's very intense. Even if it's in a more peaceful house, if it's in the 3rd house or the 6th house like mine, it still comes through very intensely. These people can be very magnetic. I mean, it's sad to say, a little weird to say for me, but people can find themselves getting very, very obsessed with people who have Venus-Pluto aspects, especially the conjunction, because they wear their Pluto, or the Pluto is so closely entwined with a visible part of their personality. See, Pluto works on a subconscious level, and Venus is a very conscious energy. People show their Venus, and unless there's other aspects, but people generally show their Venus. So to have Pluto infused with that, it's very magnetic. These people are very attractive. These people are drawn to them. They're not very photogenic. Oddly enough, they usually come through. They don't take great pictures, but when you're around this person, they exude this magnetism, this raw, animalistic, sexual energy that people just really gravitate to. They're usually very shrewd with money. They don't freely give. They don't freely give. They're very controlled with how they spend, or they try to be. Sometimes they can be a little bit selfish when it comes to resources, unless it's the object of their desire. They can be very vengeful and very bitter if they feel they've been betrayed. Another thing is them feeling they've been betrayed. Sometimes they exaggerate situations, and something really small to them can feel huge, and they can feel completely betrayed and stabbed in the back. And in a low-key sort of way, they're getting high off of that emotional intensity. They say they don't like it, but they do like it. They like that anguish, and they use it as a vehicle to transform themselves, because the 8th house is all about death and rebirth, and they are trying to die in a relationship and come back as something different, and through pain and anguish they can. Many times when they're young, they go through some really gut-wrenching emotional situations that really, really screw them up. A lot of times when they were young, their first experiences of how love should work were very, very intensified, very extreme situations. Not like coming from like their family, like their parents either fought a lot, or there were a lot of secrets, or there's a lot of jealousy, or and many people can say that a natal chart is very indicative of what the mother was going through whenever the child was born, or while she was pregnant with the child. So she sort of imposed her perception of the world and her situation onto her child subconsciously. And like for instance, my Venus is very tightly conjunct Pluto, and the rest of my chart's pretty happy with that one particular aspect. And my mom wanted me. I mean, I was planned, well, sort of. But my mom and dad were going through a really, really rough time between the two of them when my mom was pregnant with me. And you can sort of see how that was impressed upon me personally. Now, everybody's got a different story, but generally they were exposed to a lot of plutonic elements early on in life, and it developed their view and take on love accordingly. So they view intensity, passion, struggle, fights, obsession. They view it as something that is natural to the act of love, and it's just not. And you have to learn to grow over that and get past that, and get past the drama, because I mean, it really will wear on you. I've had to deal with it a couple times. It's not pleasant, but you do grow past it. They transform through love. They transform through heartbreak. They transform through pain, and they really know how to analyze and help out other people who are going through tough relationships because of their own experiences and their past traumas having to deal with painful relationships. They're generally very gifted astrologers, if they are interested in that kind of thing. There is a spirituality, because that's implied by that aspect, because through anguish, they usually seek to understand themselves much better. So attachment to the occult, attachment to spiritual things, they tends to go hand in hand. Even if somebody has a really airy and earthy chart otherwise, this one aspect can cue them in to the metaphysical undercurrents that I feel run the world. But so it's a very intense placement, very good for transformation, very magnetic. Just keep yourself safe if you do have this placement. Sometimes it can attract attention from unsavory folks. And yeah, I hope this was helpful to all you people with close Venus-Pluto conjunctions. So I do offer consultations. Feel free to message me. I'd be more than happy to set something up for y'all. And thank you. Till next time.